grep command. So grep command is a fantastic command, and it is very handy, and you must know how to use it if you are going to use terminal, or if you use terminal, because it is kind of irreplaceable. Okay, so let's begin. So yeah, so this is the intro slide, nothing much to see here except for the syntax. Okay, so what's the syntax? Just write grep, okay, then followed by the pattern. Okay, then if you have to search in a single file, then write the name of the single file. If you have to search in multiple files, then write the name of all the files separated by a space. Okay, and you write the pattern inside double quotes or single quotes or without quotes, that we will see later. Okay, and we can use this grep command in conjunction with any command, like you can use it with in conjunction with the top command to search for only particular applications. Like if you want to see only the RAM that Chrome is taking, then yeah, you can use it. So imagination is the limit with the grep command. So let's move on. So here we have some special characters. So this dot or period here, this is used to represent any single character. Okay, so it is a wild card that can represent any character. Okay, now we have this up arrow. I'll call this up arrow, you can call it whatever you want to call it. So this up arrow, it is used to signify the start of the line if you write it outside square brackets, but if you write it inside square brackets, then this line then this symbol, sorry, the symbol is used to signify that we have to search for the opposite. Okay, we'll see, don't get worried about it, we'll see that. Okay, then dollar symbol. Now dollar symbol is generally used to represent variables in shell scripting, so that is applicable here if you are using variables. If you are not using variables, then dollar represents the end of the line. Okay, the carriage return or the end of the line, whatever you call it. So if you write ABCD and then dollar, then it will search for ABCD that is present at the end of the line. Okay, and not ABCD that is present at the start or in the middle. Okay, so that's the use of dollar. Now do we have any commands for this? Yeah, so like here, so let's start with grep dot file1. so what you see here is that everything is selected, everything is matched. How we know? So whatever is in red is a match. Okay, so every character is matched. That's true because every character is a single character in itself, and dot matches every single character. So yeah, everything is written. Okay, now we will see dash w and dash o. What are the uses of these? These are two options. There are many other options, and we'll see some other options later, but this is going to be of some use. So yeah, so what happens when we write dash o here? It shows us the same thing but every character in a different line. So what happens is that dash o is only showing us the part that is matched, okay, and not the rest part. And if you don't get it, then let's try something else. We'll write here grep, and then let's write ASDF, okay, and then file1. You can see the difference between the two. It's the same command with just a dash o. So what happens when you don't give the dash o? It will show the entire line if there is a single match in that line, okay, and it will skip all the other lines. Okay, so it will show all the lines that have a match. But if we write a dash o, then it will not show the part that is not matched. Okay, it will only show the part that is matched. So ASDF is matched how many times? 4 times, so it will show 4 ASDF. Okay, so that's about dash o. What's dash w? Dash w, okay, so we have got a couple of commands here. So let's see, if we write grep and then John and file1, okay, so we get two matches, John and Johnny. The John part of Johnny is also matched. Okay, but if we want only John and not Johnny, so what we can do is grep dash w and then John file 1. So what it does is that it only matches if it is an entire word in itself. Okay, since John is not an entire word, this second John, the first John is an entire word, but the second John is not an entire word in itself, then it will not be matched. Okay, so that's the use of dash w. There's a slash b that we can also use, but sorry, this slash b, but we'll see that later. Let's move on for now. And similarly, as you can see here, ASDF $file1, what this will do, this will select the ASDF that is at the end. Okay, like we have here 4 ASDF. Okay, but if we write a dollar, then what happens is that this only selects this ASDF and not the rest, because they are not at the end of the line. Okay, there's something that follows it. So yeah, and if there is a single space after ASDF, then also it will not be selected. Yeah, so let's move on now. And done with the special character, moving on to the character class. Character class is very important. So what this is, like if you have multiple, like if you want to match cat, mat, rat, okay, anything, so it can start with C. Okay, or let's make it simpler. Okay, so if it is ABC or BBC or CBC, okay, so it can start with any character, okay, but it should end with a BC. Okay, so what you can do is you can write A, B, C, D, E, F. Okay, that's another way, that is A to Z. Okay, so you can write A, B, C inside square bracket and then followed by B and C. Okay, so what this does is that it will look for any single character that matches it. Okay, so if we want to search for words that contain vowels, so what we do is we write A, E, I, O, U inside a bracket. Okay, so if even if one of the characters that written inside the bracket matches, then it will be considered a match. So if there's an A present in the word, or there's an E present in the word, or there's an I present in the word, okay, and similarly for O and U. So if any of this is present, then what this will do, this will consider a match, okay, for the entire word. Okay, now if you want to match all the words that do not contain vowels, just put this up arrow here before this set of characters. Okay, so it will check for all the words that do not contain, so it will check for all the words that do not contain A, I, O, U. Okay, now if you like I was saying, you can't just write everything. You can write it, but it will be lengthy. Okay, so like if you want to search for numbers, so you can write 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 up to 9. Okay, or the better way to do that is 0-9. So this gives a range from 0 to 9. If any character matches, then it will be considered a match. We'll see that in the terminal right now. Okay, so similarly, if you want to search for alphanumeric characters, the pattern will be 0-9, then A-Z, then capital A-Z. Okay, so 0 to 9, small a to z, then big A to z. Okay, so remember not to give a space in between, or else space will also be considered a match. Okay, so let's see some examples. Like if we want to get all the let's open this file on. Okay, so we have got some numbers here. Okay, now if we want to get all the numbers, just type grep and then number 0 to 9 file 1. Okay, so we get all the numbers highlighted here, and if you write a dash show, then these numbers will be shown only. Okay, now we want 2-digit numbers only, then what we do is just, there's a better way to do that, but for right now let's see this. Okay, so we get only 2 digits number that are selected, not 3 digits number. Okay, yeah, so that's about it. Okay, now let's move on to the next one. Similarly, so similarly we have this up arrow if we want to match anything that is not a number. Okay, So now let's move on to the next one, and here we have the options. Okay, so there are many options. Okay, if you want to know them all, just type man grep and you'll get to see all the options, but most of them you will not use it. So I have listed the most common ones here. Okay, and they are quite simple. I do not need to explain any of this. We have already seen dash w and dash o. Okay, dash here is that it just returns a number 2 3 4. Actually it is just the count of the number of matches. Okay, and v to invert, I to ignore case. Okay, so uppercase lowercase. Okay, for that, so it's quite simple. I think I should move on. Now we have repetition subpattern. This is important. Okay, so like what happened when we wanted to search for 2-digit number, we had to write the same pattern twice. Okay, now we can't do that always. Okay, well, what if we want 1,000 okay, like number that contain 10 digits number. Okay, or there are many much more complicated patterns and we can't always write it, so that number of times, or it can be present variable number of times. Okay, so what we can do is we can use repetition subpatterns. Okay, so these are the most common syntaxes and these are enough. Okay, so let's see. The question mark, what this does is that it will check if the number is present, if the pattern. Okay, so what the p here represents, p is a pattern. This p can be a character, a word, or it can be a character class, it can be anything. Okay, so whatever be a pattern, p represents a pattern. Okay, so question mark means that this pattern must be present at least at most once. Okay, or it cannot be present at all. Okay, so number of occurrences of that pattern is 0 or 1. Okay, at most 1. Okay, that's what question mark means. Star means that it can be present any number of times. It can be 0, that is it is not present at all, then also it will be considered a match even if that pattern is not present, or it is present n number of times, then also it will be considered a match. Okay, now we come to plus. So what plus does is that it is the same as star, but 0 is removed. Okay, so the pattern must be present at least once. Okay, it can be present twice, thrice, 100 times, doesn't matter, but it must be present at least once to be considered a match. Okay, so that what plus means. Now if you want an exact number of occurrences, like the pattern must be present thrice, like if you want to select 3-digit numbers. Okay, so what do you write? You write the pattern for number, that is 0-9 inside square bracket, and then you follow that with 3 inside curly brackets. Okay, so that will get you your number. Okay, similarly we have min and max, like if you want to select 3-digit number up to 5-digit numbers. Okay, so 3-digit numbers, 4-digit numbers, and 5-digit numbers. If you want to select all these, then what you can do is you can just write your min 3 in place of min and 5 in place of max, and write your pattern on the left side, and you'll get all the 3, 4, and 5-digit numbers. Okay, and not any other number. And again we have this here, you can just write the minimum followed by a comma and then close the bracket. If you do not know the maximum, if the maximum is not defined, then just write it like this, or if the minimum is not defined and only the maximum is defined, then you can do this. Okay, so that's here. Let's see some examples to make it clear. So here, like this example here, so what happens is that why do we have to use the slash? Because when we were using the character class, this example just see above, so we did not have to escape this square bracket, but if we use a curly bracket we need to escape it, because if we don't, then it will not be considered. Okay, so like if you want to check for A's that are present, okay, let's just write A and file 1, and you'll see all the A's that are present here. Now if you want to get only A's that are present twice, so or let's say 4 times, so what happens, or 5 times, so for that what we do is that we write 5, but this is not going to work. Okay, it did not work, but if we escape this brackets, we have all the 5 occurrences of A here. Okay, Now if you do not want to escape it, because it can get confusing, like you do not have to use the slash with a square bracket, sorry, backslash with square bracket, but you have to use it with curly bracket. So if you get confused by this, which is only natural, then just write egrep instead of grep, press enter, and you are done. No need to escape anything. Okay, so that does make life simpler. Now if you have some problem in typing egrep, then you can always type grep dash capital E. Okay, and this does the same thing, so it's your choice what you type. All gives you the same result, so you can either escape it, you can use egrep, or you can use grep dash E, whichever you prefer. They all give you the same result. So that's about repetition. And yeah, you can see the examples here. This will give A's that are present twice, thrice, and four times. And yeah, so that's about it. It's quite simple. I hope you get it. Nothing much left. So yeah, that's about repetitions. Next, let's revise the brackets. Okay, so we have not seen the use of parentheses here, but they are very useful if you are using long patterns, because you need to divide the patterns into sub patterns so that you can it doesn't get messed up. Okay, now you also have this square brackets that we have already seen is used for character class, and curly brackets, they are used for for counting for repetitions. Okay, for managing the repetitions of patterns. Okay, now let's see an example. This example is, okay, it's not the most accurate one, but it works. Okay, this works if you want to search for email ID. Let's say you have a file that contains lots of data and you want to get all the email IDs that are present in the file. What do? You run this command and you get your result. Okay, so what happens here is that, okay, let's explore it. I hope you can understand it, because I have already explained everything that is present here. So this one thing that you need to see here is that the plus has to be escaped with a slash. Okay, but if we were using a star here, then we would not have to escape that. Okay, so again this gets confusing when to use a slash, when not to use a slash. So better just write egrep and you'll that will help you. Yeah, but it is not that complicated once you start using it. And we have got the echo to check it, and I'll talk about that later. Let's see this example first. Okay, so it's simple. It's just a character class. It will search for any lowercase alphabet or uppercase alphabet or a digit or a dot or a slash or a dash. Okay, so if any of this is present, and how many times, it must be present at least once or more than once, and that is said by this plus sign here. Okay, so the thing that's present on the left side of at symbol, okay, it can be a lowercase or uppercase, a number, a dash. Okay, so it can be any of this, and it can be there must be at least a single character before at symbol, at the rate symbol. So there's a plus. If the email IDs were designed such that there might not be any character before at, then we would use a star here. Okay, so yeah, that's about it, and the rest is similar. You can understand the rest because it's just the same thing. Yeah, so let's move on. Now although we have done it, we have talked about egrep. Okay, now if you want to use grep and you get stuck and you don't know, because you think that your pattern is correct but it is not giving the desired output, okay, then one way to tackle that is using echo. Okay, so like here, as I said before, we can use a slash b, a backslash b actually, in place of dash w. What we use dash w for? We use it to get entire words. Okay, now if our pattern is kind of complicated and we need to get some entire words, but some other patterns might not be entire words, we can't use dash w. Okay, so what we can use is we can use slash b. Okay, so this slash b will search for John. Let us see it in the terminal, because yeah. So if you write grep and then slash b John slash b file1. Okay, so we get the same result as we would get if we wrote -w. Yeah, but -w is limited because it will be applied on the entire pattern, and the slash b you can use it as per your convenience. So obviously slash b is better. Okay, now many times in most cases you do not have to use a quote, but I would suggest you to use quotes. But if you do not use quotes, it works most of the time, but here it won't work. Okay, you won't get any result, nothing is matched. That is because, why is that? If you wonder, just type echo and followed by the command, that's grep -w. Oh, sorry, not the w, yeah, only the b. I generally type much better. Okay, so we can see what happens here is that the slash gets removed from the b. Okay, what happens here is the terminal, before it sends the input to grep command, it removes the slash, and when grep command gets the input, it gets b John b, and there is no such word present in the file, hence we get no match. Okay, so what we can do here, we can use quotes obviously, or we can use double slash. What this double slash does is that it saves the other slash for grep. Okay, actually it doesn't work here, but it works in other cases. Okay, like in this case we need to use a we need to use quotes here. Okay, so sorry, it will work. I just have to remove this yeah, it works. That was blunder. So yeah, I hope you get it. So using double slash, what happens is that one slash is saved for grep. Okay, so we get our output, the desired output here. Okay, now similarly if you want to search for dot, okay, so what happens if you directly search for dot, you'll not get the answer because dot is a special character, so you decide on escaping it with a slash. If you do that without quotes, you'll again run into an undesired output. So what do? Either you give 2 slashes or you write it inside the quotes and you'll be done. Now when we talk about the quotes, what happens is that you might wonder whether you use single quotes or double quotes. Then in most cases it doesn't matter. It matters only when you are using variables, but this actually depends on the shell that you are using, because it varies from shell to shell, so it can't be said you can't make a universal statement about whether to use single quotes or double quotes, but you can figure it out. It's not difficult. If it doesn't work with single quotes, it will work with double quotes. Yeah, so that's all for this video. Hope it helped you. It did take me a lot of time and effort to create this video, although it might not seem because it's kind of it's not much here, but yeah, it did take a lot of effort. And so if you liked it, please comment, because reading positive comments, that makes me happy, and that motivates me to make another video. So yeah, that's all.